Hi, I'm Megan and welcome to my kitchen. Today I have 4 super easy and delicious crock pot recipes for you. These are basically dump and go. For 2 of the recipes, you'll just need to brown up some hamburger meat, but other than that, you just dump everything into your crock pot. Like I said, they're so easy and they're really yummy, budget friendly, so let's get into these recipes. First up, I'm making Miss K's chili con carne. Miss K was a sweet, sweet old lady that my husband and I worked with when we both worked for the same medical billing company. And she used to make this and bring it into us for work, and we would all enjoy it. My husband, as I've mentioned before on my channel, is not a big chili lover, but he actually does enjoy this chili recipe. So let me show you how I make it. I'll have the recipe linked in the description box below. And a quick note, I am having Miss K's recipe. Here are the ingredients that you'll need. As you can see, not very many. You'll need some ground beef. I've also used ground turkey before. You just want to make sure that you cook it and drain it really well. You'll need chili powder, and then the recipe calls for dark red kidney beans. You can use light red if you prefer. I couldn't find any, and so I was just going to use pinto beans, but after I took this picture, I finally did find a can of kidney beans in my pantry. You'll need some canned tomato soup and then salt and pepper, and that's it. Like I said, super simple, very budget friendly, but of course you can absolutely customize this. You know, use different add-ins like green peppers, red bell peppers, some diced onion, different tomato products, different beans, whatever you like. I'm really just going to dump everything into the crock pot. So I have this cooked ground beef. I don't think I mentioned this before, but I'd already cooked and browned this. I'd placed it into my freezer and I just pulled it out and let it thaw to make this chili. Then I'm going to add in my tomato soup, then my beans, and the recipe does say to drain and rinse the beans. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. It just depends on my mood that day. I'm going to season this with some salt and pepper to taste. Then I'm going to add in my chili powder, give this a stir, and then I'm going to place the lid on this. And I like to cook this on low for about 6 hours. I mean, really everything's cooked. You're just warming it all together and allowing the flavors to come together. And if you've ever made chili before, you know that the longer it cooks, the better it is. But if you only have a couple hours, just cook it on high for maybe 2 to 3 hours. Here's the finished chili. And then here are the finished plates. So I added some shredded cheddar cheese on my husband's chili. I added a little dollop of sour cream, and I made some grilled cheese sandwiches, and this was yummy. Like I said, this is a really easy chili recipe, but it's pretty tasty, and it's really customizable. Like I said, you can totally play around with this and add whatever you like. Next up, I'm making cranberry orange chicken. This recipe is my mother-in-law's recipe, and this is another recipe that is really quick and easy, and it only has a few ingredients, very budget friendly. Let me show you what you'll need. You'll need whole cranberry sauce, some orange juice, and then chicken. I like to use chicken tenders because that's what my mother-in-law uses, and so that's just how I'm used to eating it. But you could also use chicken breasts instead. Chicken breasts are a lot of times much more affordable than chicken tenders. You could leave the chicken breasts whole, or you could cut them into chicken tender shapes. And then I like to use some salt and pepper. You can use whatever seasonings you like. I'm going to spray my crock pot liner with a little cooking spray, and then again, we're just basically dumping everything into the crock pot. I'm going to add my chicken tenders. I'm going to season both sides with some salt and pepper, and then I just decided to add a little Badia Complete. I never tried it before, but it's actually pretty tasty, so I'd do that again. But again, use whatever seasonings you like. Next, I'm going to add in my orange juice. You can use your favorite brand, or you could also take just fresh oranges and squeeze them over the chicken. I'm then going to add in the cranberry sauce, give this a stir, and I placed the lid on this, and I cooked this on high for about 2 hours. You could also cook it on low for 3 to 4 hours. Keep in mind the chicken tenders are pretty small, so they are going to cook pretty quickly. You just want to make sure you cook it until the chicken is at least 165 degrees internal temperature. Here is the finished chicken, and then to go along with this, I made a cranberry almond rice pilaf. I shared this in a previous What's for Dinner video. I'll link it in the description box below. I also made some roasted asparagus, and then of course we have the crock pot cranberry orange chicken, and next I'll show you our plates. Here's everything served up. We have the asparagus, the rice pilaf, and I did sprinkle a little extra almonds on top of the rice pilaf. I added some of the chicken and then drizzled some of the orange juice and cranberry liquid from the crock pot over the chicken and rice, and that was our dinner this night. Next up, I'm making taco soup. Now, I know most of you probably already know how to make taco soup. You've probably got a recipe that you already use and that you love. But one of the things that I love about YouTube is I like watching multiple people make the same thing or the same recipe. And the reason for that is because even though it's the same thing and maybe I already have a recipe, maybe there's a different ingredient that they use or a different technique or something that I can do to switch up my recipe. So I wanted to go ahead and share with you how I like to make my taco soup. Maybe it's a little different than how you make it. Maybe there's an ingredient I use that you want to give a try. Let me show you the ingredients that I use. First, I've got onion powder, garlic powder, taco sauce. I'm just using this mild Taco Bell taco sauce. That's what I have on hand. Some ranch seasoning mix, some taco seasoning. You can, of course, make your own homemade taco seasoning and ranch dressing mix as well. You'll need some corn that has been drained, black beans that have been drained and rinsed, some diced tomatoes with green chili, otherwise rotel, some salt and pepper. And then for meat, I have some ground beef that I have already cooked and drained. I had placed this in my freezer. I've just thawed it out. I've also used ground turkey in this. You could use ground chicken or you could use chicken breasts. And that's it. And like I said, you can totally customize this, make this your own. You could use some diced onion, diced green bell pepper, diced jalapenos, whatever you like. Once again, like with the other recipes, I'm basically just adding everything to the crock pot. So I've got my ground beef, and then for my seasonings, the salt, pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, taco seasoning, and the ranch dressing mix. I never measure it, I just eyeball it. I will do my best to find a recipe that's as close as possible to how I make this. I'll try to find one and link it in the description box below, but I'm a big proponent of it's your kitchen. There are no, taco soup police that are going to show up at your door and yell at you for using the wrong amount of taco seasoning. So just season it to your taste, what you and your family like. Use what you all like. Then I'm going to add in my taco sauce, my rotel, my corn, my beans, and then I will give this a stir, place the lid on this, and then I like to cook this on low for 6 to 8 hours or on high for about 4 hours. Once again, just like with the chili, everything's cooked. You're basically just allowing everything to warm through and all of your flavors to come together. Now, I did notice though when I was stirring everything up that it was a little thick for me, so I did end up adding about 1.5 cans of water. You could also use chicken or beef broth. And here's the finished taco soup. I do like to taste it before I serve it and adjust the seasonings. To serve it up, I just added some shredded cheddar cheese and sour cream. You could also do black olives, green onions, some avocados, salsa, tortilla strips, tortilla chips, whatever you like. And in fact, normally we do serve the taco soup with some tortilla chips. But as I was, serving the taco soup up, I thought, chili and grilled cheese is always so good together. I bet quesadilla, like a cheese quesadilla, would be good in this. So I just made up some quick cheese quesadillas. There was nothing else in there, just cheese and tortillas. I, buttered it and then just cooked it up in the skillet. And we dunked the quesadillas in the taco soup, and it was delicious. It was so good, so I'll definitely make that again. Finally, I'm making rice pudding. Now, I'm not a big rice pudding fan. I normally don't like it. My husband loves it though, but I actually enjoyed this recipe and I would try this again and would have this again. Let me show you the ingredients that you'll need. First, you'll need milk. The recipe says to use whole milk or 2% milk, not to use skim milk because it's too watery. I had some 1% milk on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. You'll need sugar, brown sugar, instant white rice, salt, butter, vanilla, and cinnamon, and that's it. Let me show you how to make this. It's super easy. I'm going to start out by greasing my crock pot liner. The recipe said to use some of the butter from the recipe, but I just used some cooking spray instead. I just sprayed it really well. And then we're basically just adding everything into the crock pot. So I'm going to add in the milk, rice, sugar, salt, cinnamon, vanilla extract, brown sugar. I'm going to stir that until it's combined. And then I'm going to take the butter and cut it into cubes, dot the top of the rice pudding with the butter cubes. I placed the lid on it and I cooked it on low for about 4 hours. You do want to check it every hour or so and give it a stir, check the tenderness of the rice and check the, amount of liquid in the rice. You may need to add a little bit more milk. And as usual, I am having the recipe. If you're new to my channel, it's just the two of us, my husband and I. And so it's pretty normal for me to have recipes. And I know several of my subscribers have mentioned that they cook for 2 or even 1. And so I just wanted to make a quick mention of this. I got this crock pot a couple days ago at Target. I think it was like $17. It's a 2-quart crock pot and it is perfect if you're just cooking for one or two, or if you're a couple with like a toddler or an infant. It's a great size, so I recommend you all give these, but you don't have to get it at Target. You can get these at Walmart, on Amazon, and like I said, they're under $20, so it's a great thing to have if you're a small family. Here's the finished rice pudding. And here it is served up. I did sprinkle a little cinnamon on top as a garnish. And again, I'm normally not a rice pudding fan, but this was yummy. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you give one or all of these recipes a try and that you enjoy it. And I hope that you have a great rest of the day. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.